Okay, you should be able.
18th of January, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Hey, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva Tamanashi. Here in Shalom Care Zoom. We're learning our second Shir Mishnah Berura, Tim and Kufnun Ches. And we'll be learning now in continuation of Sif Daled. Let's begin with the Macabre given Sif Daled. Yeah. Who would like to volunteer?
I'll volunteer if the mayor's not here, I guess. Kuf Nun Tes.
Kufnun Ches.
Tes.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's SIF again, please?
Sif Daled.
Imochel.
Correct.
Davar. Shet Tibulo. Echad. Mi Shiv'ah. Mashkin. Let's see. If one eats something, what is shetibulo?
That is dipped.
That is dipped. That is dipped. In one of the seven, mashkin is liquids.
That's right.
Shesimanam Yud Dalad Shin Het Tet Dalad Mem. So these are the mnemonics that we have to remember what these are.
Yes.
Wine and blood and
Well, each letter stands for one of the seven liquids. So this is Davash, not it could have been Dam, but it happens to be Davash.
Okay. Wine and honey and I don't know what the chin is.
It'll be you look in the Hagar, it'll explain them, writes them out for you.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yayin, Devash, Shemen, oil, Kalev, milk, Tal is what? Dew?
Yes.
Dam, blood, and Mayim, water. So it distinguishes between dew and water.
Yes. There's a distinction between dew and water, correct?
Interesting. Okay. Below Nis Nagav, Vafilu, Ein Vada Yadav, Nog Os, Bimkom Ha Mashke. Tarikh Natila below Bracha. Okay, so if he's not accustomed, nis na heg, nis na gay, nis na heg. It's not his. It's nis na gave. What is nis na gave?
that Velonis, meaning that the he's eating something which was um, moistened by one of these seven liquids, and it hadn't been dried off. Hadn't dried off.
And even if it isn't in his hand,
Right, even if ואפילו אין ידו נוגוס במקום שמשקה, even if his hands do not touch the place of the liquid.
ah, Tarif, he needs to wash without a bracha. The Haggash says, "Vafilu eno mitabel rak rosh ha-narak o hapri afilu hachi yitol below bracha." Beis Yosef. So the Ramah says even if he doesn't sorry, if he only washes what is Rosh Hayakar? Hayarak?
The end of the vegetable, even if he's only he's wetting only if he's wetting the end of the vegetable.
Or the fruit, even so he washes without a bracha. Okay, Mishna Berura?
Yeah, that
Mishna Berura.
we'll start with
I see cutting Yud Aleph. Devar Vukule.
we did that yesterday. Yud base. Let's start with Yud base.
Okay. Shetibulo. Shetibulo, the dip that was dipped. The Osan Sheshok in Peros O Yarak B'mayim L'nakol San. So these Sheshokin, what is Sheshokin?
That they're placed in the water.
Placed in the water, fruits or vegetables. In the water, Linakosan. What's not Linakosan?
You have these fruits and that they're placed in water to clean them. Hashiv tibilo, Damashki. It's considered to be that they are now moistened uh, for the sake of this halacha of washing the hands.
V'devar she'ein darko l'tav lo o l'chayos alav mashkeh ein tarich l'tilas nitilas yadayim. So for the thing that is not its normal way to wash it, to toivel it, or
Go ahead.
lios alav. I'm sorry, I gotta get the door. Hello. Sorry, I got a delivery of groceries. It'll take me a minute.
Eliezer Tzvi, you want to take over, please?
Okay, so where are we again?
We're in the Sif Cutton Yud base. Mr. was referring to those, sometimes you want to wash your fresh fruits and vegetables and they'll get wet. But that's also considered that they're wet for the necessity of washing your hands beforehand.
Okay.
Actually, you could start with Yud Gimel. You see Yud Gimel be'echad b'shiva mashkin.
Yud Gimel, right back. I'm in the wrong. Kufman Ches. Hold on, I was in the wrong section. Back with Shimon Mashkin, one of these 7 liquids. About Shar Mine Mashkin, Nischatin Mina Peros, Enim Koshuvin Mashkin. And other liquids that come out of the vegetables don't have a din of a mashkin. Devash, devorim, we're talking about bee honey. Velo shel torim, not date honey, or shel min acher, or from some other type of fruit. Kasva poskim, right? Kol mashkin shenikrashu.
That means congealed. They're congealed. Something nikrashu is congealed. The poskim right that all liquids that have congealed for some reason.
Bain.
Al Yidei.
Bain al Yidei Sina, whether through cooking or through cold.
Right, they froze. Let's say they froze. Let's say the liquid was congealed by cooking. You reduced the liquid, so it became thickened and it didn't flow anymore. Or let's say it's cold. It's becoming icy.
Right. Ache bahem tofeach al manas lahaftiach, and they don't flow at all. Lo chashive mashkin, not considered a mashkin. So ice would not be considered a mashkin. Is that correct?
Right. Snow also would not be considered a mashkin.
Vidas tosfos shafiu chazru v'nimochu acharchach. They thaw out afterwards. Zulaso yayin omayim, or wine and water. Vuadin chalav shenikfa. That would be the din for milk that also froze or congealed.
Congealed, right? That's good.
Venimochu chashivi mashka. But when they melt and they flow again, they're still considered a mashka. Because of this, medacticus hamtunan b'davash.
And so
We're-
according to this, marchakas hametugan b'devash. These are types of like pastries that are
Dipped in
boiled
honey.
in devash. They're boiled in devash, fried in devash. Tugan is fried in devash.
Okay, im davash shall lehen korosh achein bohem tofer almanas tatafer. If the honey is hardened, so it doesn't flow at all, mutter la'achila below natil. Therefore, according to everybody, it's much to eat it without washing your hands. The ima davash eno korosh. The davash is not solid. Dasa Taz Chashivi Amashka, it's considered a mashka. Dasa Magan of Ram Dolo Chashivi Amashka. According to the Magan of Ram, it's not considered a mashka. Kivin She Omed Hadavash Hazel Achila Velo Lamashka. Since the vash is meant to be eaten and not drunk and not a liquid. Shem Ochel, then there's a din of a food on it, and it is not maksher. V'chayadam Hichria, and the Chayada makes a compromise. Devash kiluk, the yesh kiluk bezen. There's a difference here. Yim kana ha'devash v'dayin hu ma'orev b'shava. If you acquire the honey and it's
it's still mixed with the shiva. That's like with the honeycomb,
Right. Okay. Avetichu al menas kain kedei letagen bo, and you take it out of there with a condition to fry with it or to cook it.
right?
In kain ma'olam lo haya alav shem mashka. This does not have a shame of a liquid associated with it. Because you cook it in order to eat it. And therefore you don't need to wash your hands. Med. But if you've taken in the honey, it's already been removed from the honeycombs to make med, which is a liquid, a honey wine. You do a shehem b'hatichin kedei la'asos mashkin, and you're going to process it in order to make a liquid out, and more of a liquid out of it. Certain teals shadayim afagav shem gaden bo ochel. Then you still have to wash your hands for it, even if you end up cooking it.
So it says so this so up to this point, you have these pastries. They're common. Go to bakeries. They have these pastries that are they're all covered with honey, right? And so either they've been fried in the honey or prepared with the honey. And I would say in all cases, we don't have this situation where you're buying the honey from and using it straight out of the honeycomb anymore. That's somehow they marketed it in earlier times that way. But most of our honey has been processed and is obviously in a full liquid form. So you only have the machlokas of the poskim here that the Mishna brought down in case where you have this different situation where you're getting the honey directly out of the comb. But if it's going to be a proper liquid, as most of our honey is today, so all these pastries that you'll be eating, and in general, most of the time the honey is still gooey enough that it's certainly it's certainly enough to flow and make transfer moisture from your finger to another object. So you'd have to wash your hands for eating these pastries.
Good thing I don't like honey pastries. One less problem to worry about.
Yeah. Now also it's also very relevant. I mean, we know just in general, we know that we mentioned yesterday on the night of Pesach, you're dipping your carpus, parsley, potato, whatever it might be, vegetable, potato, in the salt water, and actually that is why one of the reasons why we washed it 2 times. We wash our hands twice on the night of Pesach,
Sure.
and that's done before the Suda. So that's why we wash once before the Suda, and then again. I mean, it's before you actually get tamotzi, rather. That's why we wash again. So also on the night of Rosh Hashanah, we dip the apple in the honey, right? Dip the apple in honey. Now there are
Right.
different customs. Some actually do that before they actually make a hamotzi. They have to kiddush hamotzi, similar to the night of Pesach, and some do it after they've washed for motzi. So if you've washed for motzi, so you're dipping your apple in, you don't have to rewash your hands again. You did your washing for the hamotzi, so on the night of Rosh Hashanah, so that's okay. You don't have to wash your hands again. But if you're not going to be washing beforehand, and let's say after you make kiddush, you do these simanim, which some do have a custom like that. Not many people that I know of, but some do have a custom like that. You'd have to wash your hands because you're dipping the apple in the honey. Okay, let's continue on.
So then you're okay, right?
Excuse me?
You do the simanim after you make hamotzi, then you're okay.
Right, you've already been okay with washing your hands for the hamotzi, so you're all right there.
Okay. Very okay. V'ayim b'derech chayim shekosav t'im ochel midkachas al yedei mazleg. I don't know what those words are.
Markakas are like the pastries,
Oh, okay.
and a mazleg is a fork.
Okay. Oh, you with the fork. Yesh hakel the ein tzorich l'tila. And therefore, since you're not touching the food directly, you're using the fork, you don't have to wash your hands.
Right. That's something we're going to encounter, that when we need to wash your hands for washing on the wet fruits and vegetables, even meat, as the Mishna said. But if it's your normal way that you don't eat it with your hands directly, right? So then you don't have to wash your hands because you're eating it normally with a fork. But if you're normally going to eat it with your hands, let's say French fries. Sometimes you get crispy French fries, sometimes you get oily French fries, right? So
Right.
the French fries have the oil on them. So then sometimes it's oily enough that'll get on your fingers, and it'll make it'll make another object wet from the oil that's on your fingers that you got from the French fries. So then you're gonna have to wash your hands if you're eating your French fries. I mean, if they're that oily, you might want to, consider not eating them at all. They may not be very healthy. But that's your own personal question. In terms of halacha, if it's oily enough that they're not crispy and oily, rather, then you probably have to wash your hands. If you eat them with your fingers, and so sometimes maybe you would eat them with your fingers. Sometimes you would only use a fork, depending. So, but if it's a very common that you would eat them with your fingers, then you'd have to wash your hands. But if, let's say, you never eat French fries with your fingers, you always use a fork to eat French fries, then you wouldn't need to.
Okay. V'kolzeh ha-merkachas ha-betunan b'davash. This all talks about cakes that are cooked with honey. Aval ha-betunin b'tsukar, if you do with sugar, ein tzarich l'tila v'kulinam. Nobody says you need to do wash for that. Don't havi mashke, because sugar is not a liquid. Shemen, hainu shemen zayis is olive oil. Umashma the shar. Shemanim enum bechlal mashka, but other oils are not considered a mashka. That's interesting.
Right.
Okay.
So apparently only olive oil is what's required to wash on. So that could take away the problem with the French fries. Usually you're not going to be frying in olive oil. Probably going to be some other less expensive, less quality oil that you're going to fry in. So if that's the case, you don't have to wash your hands with a French fry.
Yeah, it's probably corn oil or canola oil because they're a lot
That's
cheaper.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, very rarely. I've been told that olive oil is really not good to fry in. It's not. It doesn't give it a good flavor
Right,
when it's
right.
when it's heated up.
Okay, okay. Chalav milk. Huadin make chalav o chama kishe nemucha. This would be for the milk liquids.
I mean, that's like whey. That's like the whey or skim milk, perhaps. Skim milk, whey, right?
Um,
Or chama kishiminua, when butter when it's melted, right?
okay.
And what about what about a yogurt? If it flows, is a yogurt considered to be liquid or a solid?
Um, that's that's a good question.
Yeah, so maybe say American sour cream also, right?
Women don't eat yogurt with your fingers. Usually
Oh,
with
that's
usually a spoon. And sour
usually
cream
right.
spoon. They're not things you would really use your hands on, so it's not should be less of an issue.
On the true enough, but the question here is, meaning we're talking about the food that you're eating. The food that you're eating is being dipped into these things. I mean, let's say you have let's say you have your slices of apple and you're dipping it into yogurt, right? So the question is the yogurt considered a liquid? Meaning it's you're eating the apples with your finger, the sliced apple with your finger. Now it's true, yogurt you don't look, for that matter, water, yayin, all these things you never drink those things with your hands. You're always drinking them in a cup, your vessel for that. But these are the liquids that you're dipping the food that you're eating with. And the question is, the food that you're eating with, is that something that you normally use a fork for? Or is it or a spoon or a utensil to eat with, or is it something you use normally with your finger? Right? So let's say a person, you have dips. Let's say potato chips, and you want to dip it into a yogurt dip, right?
Yeah.
So if it's something which is, I don't know, maybe we could even ask the question, what we had the question about if things are frozen, what about ice cream? We learned about the Mr. said if the milk is cup or the milk is frozen, so it's not considered a liquid, right? But ice cream, it's liquid enough. If you put your finger on the ice cream, you're going to get it dirty enough and wet enough that you put it on another surface, it's going to transfer the moisture to another surface. So
Yep.
it's not like ice, right? So maybe ice cream also. Let's say a person he's dipping I don't know, he's dipping cookies into to ice cream and eating it, right? So if yogurt, right, are considered to be liquids of chalav, then you'd have to wash your hands for that as well. Okay. Actually, I'll tell you, our time has come up. Maybe we'll stop here. I'll try, if I have a chance, I'll try and see if what some of the posts can say about some of these questions, because when we're getting into all these different halachas, there are a lot of things which the Mishnah doesn't really mention, but are very common questions that you're faced with on an almost daily basis, perhaps. So we'll try and clarify some of those more practical questions as we go along, Blinetta.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Have a
Rabbi.
good
And
day.
thank you, Lou. Thank you, Lily. Is it 3? Hope to see you all later, tomorrow or next week. Be well.
We'll see you today, maybe.
Yeah, what time you're planning to start? We say what at 5 to 5-1.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, very good. See you then.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
See you
Okay,
later. I'll be here tomorrow.
tomorrow, yeah, it's a